Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy Ice Academy. For more than half a century, the oil-rich kingdoms of Persian Gulf have lived under a powerful promise. A promise that if danger ever arrived at their doorstep, the most powerful military on earth would stand between them and destruction. And that promise came from the United States of America. American warships, they patrol the waters of Persian Gulf. Fighter jets sit ready at the massive bases in Qatar and Bahrain, and the world's most advanced defense system and the skies of Saudi Arabia and UAE. So for decades, this arrangement created a powerful belief. Now, the Gulf is safe because America is here. But what happens when that belief begins to crack? So this is the headline which was there in the news. As you can see here, is the Gulf now questioning its US ties and the America guarantee? This is the scenario. Okay. So what happens when missiles, they fly across the region, oil infrastructure burns, military bases are targeted, and the most strategic waterway on the planet, that is Strait of Hormuz, suddenly becomes a battlefield? And what happens when country challenging this entire security system is Iran, a nation that many believed could be contained? Okay, so today a war involving Israel, Iran and United States is actually forcing the Gulf state to ask a question that they have actually avoided for decades. Is the American security guarantee still reliable or not? Or is the entire security architecture of the Middle East built carefully since the Cold War, which is beginning to crumble? Because even if the United States cannot fully shield the Gulf from conflict, the implications can go far beyond the Middle East. So they actually reach the global energy markets. They affect great power competition, and they could also reshape the geopolitical balance of the entire world. Okay, so in this video, we are going to decode how the Gulf security system was built, why it is suddenly showing cracks, and whether the region might be moving toward an entirely new order or not, the one where old alliances fade and unexpected partnership emerge. So the story you are about to hear is not just about a war here. It is about the possible end of a 50-year geopolitical arrangement, and what replaces it could change the future of global power. So our headlines today is the Gulf now questioning the US guarantee, US security guarantee. Just think like this, just think like a Persian Gulf region is like a neighborhood which is full of very rich houses in the sense oil rich states like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, etc. And for decades, these countries relied on a powerful security guard, the United States of America, to protect them from the threats, especially from Iran. Okay. But the current war actually involving United States, Israel and Iran, it has made many powerful Gulf countries wonder that if US is so powerful, then why couldn't it stop Iran attacks? This has actually created these serious doubts about America's security guarantee. Now, the first thing that we need to understand here is what triggered the crisis. Okay, so I'll just give you a short context here. On 28th of February 2026, the United States of America and the Israel, they launched preemptive strikes on Iran. So basically, their goal was to weaken the Iran's military and leadership. Okay, and during this war, Iran's supreme leader was targeted Apart from this, 40 plus top military commanders, they were also killed. Major Iranian facilities were attacked, but instead of surrendering, Iran retaliated strongly. And Iran struck the Israeli targets, US military bases in the Gulf, oil and gas infrastructure also, apart from the shipping routes, and more importantly, Iran threatened to disrupt the Strait of Hormuz, as you can see here. Okay, so this is the Strait of Hormuz, as you can see. Okay, this is Strait of Hormuz, which is very important for oil trade. Okay, so Iran actually threatened to disrupt the Strait of Hormuz, and this strait is extremely important because 20% of the world's oil trade passes through it. So the entire global economy got nervous. Okay, now why are Gulf countries worried? Now we need to understand that why are Gulf countries worried. See, first, try to understand the Gulf region already hosts many American bases, many American, you can say, military bases. So there are about 13 major US bases across the countries. Okay, now 13 major you can say US military bases across the countries, like as you can see here, Bahrain. Okay, Bahrain is there, then Qatar is there, Kuwait is there. All these countries, they host what? US military bases. Then Saudi Arabia is also there. Then UAE is also there. Apart now, these countries actually host the US military bases. For example, so as you can see here, that the United States of America Fifth Fleet operates from Bahrain. है ना? This is the example. है ना? So US Fifth Fleet जो है, it actually operates from Bahrain, and the massive base in Qatar. Let me show you. As you can see, yes. So the massive base in Qatar, the massive Al Udaid Air Base is in Qatar. जो massive Al Udaid Air Base है, that is in Qatar. And despite this huge military presence, Iran still managed to hit the targets across the region. That is why this actually raised the disturbing question. If the US cannot fully protect the Gulf from Iran, then who can? Okay. Now the question here is, how did this security system begin? है ना? How did this security system begin? तो अब इस security system की शुरुआत कहां से हुई? See, to understand the problem, we need to go back in the history. Now, before 1970, so before 1970, this was under the British protection. Yes, British protection. So before 1970, it was under British protection. See, until late 1960s, the Gulf region was protected by UK, United Kingdom. But Britain withdrew its forces before 1970. Okay. Then what happened? So remember this thing, in 1969, as you can see this personality, this is Richard Nixon. Okay. President of United States of America at that time. So 1969, Nixon doctrine came. So then the Richard Nixon administration introduced this doctrine, which is called as Nixon doctrine. Now what was the idea here? The idea was America would support the allies with weapons and protection. Clear? But regional powers should defend themselves too. कि अमेरिका उन्हें वेपन्स भी देगा, सपोर्ट करेगा, बट रीजनल पावर्स को अपने आप से भी डिफेंड करना होगा. Apart from this, after this, twin pillar policy came. Now this twin pillar policy. Now what is this twin pillar policy? The United States of America relied on two powerful countries to stabilize the Gulf. So US relied on two powerful countries to stabilize Gulf region. Now what are those two powerful countries? One is Saudi Arab and second is Iran. Now you need to understand. One was Saudi Arab, second was Iran. They were called as twin pillars. ठीक है, अब यहां तक सारी चीजें सही चल रही थी. The things were changed in 1979 when Iranian Revolution took place. 1979 in Iran, revolution came and Iran became Islamic Republic. Clear? Shia Republic. Everything was changed in 1979. The Iranian Revolution overthrew the pro-US Shah regime in Iran and Iran became anti-American. So one pillar of the security system got collapsed. So जो ये pillar था, this pillar of US got collapsed in Gulf region. And then after this comes the Carter Doctrine, Jimmy Carter. In 1980, the United States President Jimmy Carter made a major declaration. And in this, he said, if any outside power tries to control the Persian Gulf, the US will use the military force. And this came to be known as Carter Doctrine. I hope this one is clear to all of you. Now, after that only, there was creation of Gulf Cooperation Council. After that only, GCC was created. So, GCC was created in 1981. This was created in 1981, Gulf Cooperation Council. In 1981, Gulf states, they created the Gulf Cooperation Council. Now, who are the members? The members are Saudi Arabia, the members are UAE, the members are Qatar, Kuwait, okay. Then apart from this, Bahrain and Oman region. All these are members. Now, what is the goal of GCC? The goal of Gulf Cooperation Council is to counter the two threats. First threat was Iran, another threat was Iraq. The goal of GCC was to counter the two threats, Iran and Iraq. Why Iran? Iran was the ideological rival. Ideological rival. Why Iraq? Military threat at that time, Saddam Hussein. Military threat at that time. Clear? But there was a problem. The Gulf Cooperation Council excluded the two biggest regional countries. अब इन्होंने गलती क्या कर दी कि आपने उन्हीं को दुश्मन बना लिया जो बिगेस्ट रीजनल कंट्रीज है, दैट इज ईरान एंड इराक. क्लियर? नाउ आफ्टर दिस US military expansion in the Gulf region. After the Gulf War, the United States increased its military presence. Now, there are various key developments like in 1995. Now, in 1995, what happened? US 5th Fleet established in Bahrain. Okay, US 5th Fleet established in Bahrain. Then in 1996, this happened. Now, this base, this is Al Udeid Air Base built in Qatar. Al Udeid Air Base. This was built in Qatar. And then in 2003, US Central Command moved to Qatar region. And after this, various other initiatives also came, like later initiative, which includes Cooperative Defense Initiative, which was started in 1999, and Gulf Security Dialogue, which was started in 2006. Now, after this, there are various attempts which were taken to build an Arab NATO. Clear? So here, as you can see, the United States of America, they try to build a NATO-like alliance in the Middle East, which is called as Middle East Strategic Alliance, MESA. They try to build MESA. MESA means Middle East Strategic Alliance. Now, members were supposed to include, now who were the members who were supposed to be included in this? So, GCC countries were there, Gulf Cooperation Council, Egypt was there, Jordan was there. Clear? GCC countries, जो अभी हमने discuss किया, Egypt and Jordan. But this plan was actually collapsed after the Qatar diplomatic crisis in 2017. So this plan got collapsed because of the Qatar diplomatic crisis. Okay. Now, the question here is, why did the system fail? Now, first we need to understand why did the system fail. So, many scholars, they argue that the security system failed because of various reasons. First reason is over dependence on the United States of America. Like Gulf countries relied almost completely on the American protection. They did not develop their own strong defense system. Clear? That is the over dependence. Then second important thing is that we need to understand weak Gulf Cooperation Council cooperation. Like the GCC lacks unified military command. They also lack the joint defense resources, strategic shared vision. And the third important thing that we need to understand here is excluding important regional powers. Like Gulf securities, in Gulf security system, Iran and Iraq was not there. So Gulf security system ignored Iran-Iraq region. But geographically, they control much of the northern Persian Gulf coast. So excluding these two countries, that is Iran and Iraq, so it actually created the permanent tension. Okay? Now a new idea is emerging actually. Now what is that new idea? Regional cooperation. Now a new model might be necessary. Instead of rely only on the United States of America, the region could also build cooperative security system. Like what kind of cooperative security system? So Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arab, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, all these countries. And the idea is actually similar to the cooperative, or you can say collective security, which means countries reduce rivalry, they should build trust, and they should avoid the military domination. Now, there are actually signs of regional reconciliation. Now, what are the signs of, what are the symbols of regional conciliation? See, there are some positive signs which appeared recently in the sense in last few years. Okay, like Saudi-Iran peace deal. This is Saudi-Iran peace deal which happened in 2023. So Saudi-Iran peace deal in March 2023, Saudi Arab and Iran, they restored relations, and this deal was brokered by China, as you can see. There are other reconciliation moves also, like Egypt improved relations with Turkey. Okay, Egypt improved relations with Turkey and Syria. Then Qatar and Bahrain, they also restored their ties. And apart from this, Arab League readmitted Syria in 2023. Now, what are the key lessons that we need to learn from the recent conflict? See, if you see so Iran mainly attacked the Gulf targets because those countries allowed United States or Israeli strikes from their territory. So the argument is, if Gulf states, they stay neutral, Iran may not attack them. This actually suggests security may come from diplomacy rather than the military alliances. So the big strategic question that we need to learn here, try to understand. So the big strategic question here is, Gulf now faces two choices. First option, continue relying on the US, but the recent war actually showed the limitations. Second, they can build a new regional security system, and in this system, they should include Iran, Iraq, Arab state. This would mean replacing the Gulf Cooperation Council model with a more inclusive security framework. So the war has actually shaken a 50-year-old security system in the Gulf. Now the big question here is, can the US still guarantee Gulf security? Should Gulf countries depend less on outside powers? Should Iran be included in regional security arrangements? So basically, this long-term stability may only come from or you can say this long-term stability may only come from the cooperative regional system rather than the military protection. So overall, we can say for decades, the security system or the security of the Persian Gulf seemed almost permanent, protected by the American power, reinforced by the military bases, and supported by the allies, which were designed to contain the regional rivals. But history has a strange way of reminding the nations that no security system lasts forever. The current conflict has actually exposed something that mainly policymakers in the region quietly feared, but rarely said out loud. है ना? Even the most powerful military presence in the world cannot guarantee about the stability in a region which is shaped by the rivalry, ideology, as well as geography. The old system, which is built around the protection of the United States and the alignment of Gulf monarchies against the Iran, is now being questioned more openly than even before. And this raises a profound possibility. What if the future of the Gulf is not built on exclusion and confrontation, but on a completely different idea? One where regional powers, including former adversaries, they sit at the same table to design a new security order. So we are already seeing small hints of this transformation, from diplomatic reconciliation between Saudi Arabia and Iran, to shifting regional alignments and a new global actors like China entering into the diplomatic arena. So whether this permanent, or you can say whether this experiment succeeds or fails, is something only the future will reveal. But one thing which is clear from here, okay, the Gulf is entering a moment of strategic reckoning. Old guarantees are being actually questioned, new alliances are being imagined. So the geopolitical map of the Middle East, it may be quietly redrawn in the years ahead, because sometimes the most important shifts in the global politics do not begin with the treaties or speeches. They begin with a single question which echoing across the capital: can we still rely on the system that protected us for decades? And when that question is asked seriously, then the world knows that a new chapter of history may already be unfolding. So this is all about the conflict which is happening at this moment. Okay, so I hope this issue is clear to everyone. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you so much.